Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to make the mini magic mandala square that you will find on mooglyblog.com. It's a free pattern, again, on mooglyblog.com, so if you want the written instructions or detailed instructions, you'll want to go there. For this video, I'll be using Red Heart Creme de la Creme, which is 100% cotton, and a US eye hook by Susan Bates. Let's get started. I'm going to begin with the orange color here, bright orange. Let me find my end. I may have twisted up a little tightly here. Oh, there we go. All right. And this pattern begins with a magic circle. So if you don't know how to work a magic circle, you can find a video for that on the mooglyblog.com YouTube channel or on mooglyblog.com itself. But once I've got my magic circle started, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, oops, dropped it off the hook there. Let's try that again. 3 and 4. And those 4 chains count as a double crochet and chain 1. Then I am going to double crochet and chain 1 in the ring 7 more times. So even though we actually begin with a chain 4, we count that as a double crochet and a chain 1, so that'll be like having 8 double crochets and chain 1s in the circle. So chain 1, yarn over, go right into the center of the magic ring there. Magic ring, magic circle, same thing. 2 different names. I'm going to double crochet, chain 1, and I'm going to continue doing that until I have 8 double crochets and 8 chain 1s all the way around. So I'll see you as soon as I have that done. Okay, so we've got 8 double crochets followed by a chain 1. So what I'm going to do now is pull the loose end of the magic circle here to tighten up that ring, nice and tight. And when I weave in that end, I'm going to be sure to go around the circle with it and back through using my tapestry needle to really keep that magic ring secure so it doesn't pull open. Then I am going to slip stitch in the third of those of the 4 chains there, so that would be like the top of our double crochet. Remember, it's a double crochet chain 1. Working into the chain is always a little tricky. There we go. I'll go ahead and slip stitch, and that's the end of round 1. So for round 2, we're going to start with a chain 3, which counts again as our first double crochet, then 2 double crochet in the next chain space. So that's right there where the chain 1 is. We're just going to go right into that space. You don't have to work into that fiddly chain itself. And in that chain space, I will work 2 double crochets. Like so. There we are. Then I am going to double crochet in the next double crochet. So that one right here, going right into that under both loops of the V there. Like so. And then again, I will work, I'm going to pull up a little bit more yarn here. I will work 2 more double crochets in the next chain space. So anytime you find a double crochet, work a double crochet in it. You find a chain space, work 2 double crochets in it. So here we are at the next double crochet. So I double crochet right in that. And then we're at the next chain space, so I'll work 2 double crochets there. And continue on around until we have 24 double crochets in this round. And remember, of course, that includes that chain 3 that we began with. So I'll see you when I get to the end of this round. Alright, so I've made 24 double crochets in round 2. So now we're done with color A. I'm going to pull up that loop slightly and put down my hook. Then I'll use my scissors to go ahead and cut the yarn, leaving enough to weave in later. There we are. And normally I would actually weave as I go, but I won't make you watch me weave in all these ends. But I do want to show how I like to finish these off. Now, I'm going to, as you can see, I didn't slip stitch yet. I didn't finish off this round. I just pulled that end of the yarn straight through. I'm going to thread it on my needle here. And then, rather than going into the top of the chain 3, I'm going to go into the next double crochet itself. Normally if I were finishing off with a slip stitch, I would go ahead and slip stitch here. But I'm going to go into the top of the first real double crochet, even though we're counting that as a double crochet there, the chain 3. Going under both loops with my needle from front to back. Then I'm going to come back around, go down the center of the last stitch, the one we came from there, where that yarn is originating. I'm going to poke the needle through there and pull through until I have created essentially a false V there on top of our chain 3. And that'll be a lot easier to work into in the next round, and it maintains our stitch count for the next round as well. You can see that looks pretty good. So, like I say, normally I would go ahead and weave in these ends. For now I'm just gonna tuck it in there so it stays out of our way and get started with round 3. There we are. So for round 3, I'll go ahead and pull in a new color. There it is, the green that we saw earlier. Pull up a little bit of length here. And then with my needle, I am going to join with a slip stitch to the top of one of the double crochet stitches that is worked into a double crochet. So that means not one of the double crochets that's worked into the chain space, but rather one of the double crochets that's worked into another double crochet. And I like to actually do this away from the chain 3 before, because this breaks up the line and doesn't create one visible seam throughout the piece. So I am going to put my hook into one of the double crochets that's worked into a double crochet under both loops there. Then I'll grab my yarn and pull up a loop. And there I've got it, gone ahead and started working into that stitch. So at this point I am going to chain 1 to make sure that it's on there securely. All right, and then I'm going to work a spike stitch into the top of the double crochet from round 1 directly below. So remember, this is a double crochet worked into a double crochet. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook into the top of the double crochet from round 1. And I want to do this somewhat loosely. I don't want to crush round 2. But from the behind, I'll grab my loop, my working yarn there, and pull it up nice and high. Again, we don't want to crush round 2 here. And then I will yarn over and finish off. And I've got one spike stitch there. Then I will single crochet in the next single crochet, which is one of the ones worked into the chain space. Just a standard single crochet. Then I'm going to single crochet between the posts. And this is something that trips people up in this pattern and in the larger Magic Spike Mandala pattern. I'm going to go right between the posts, almost as if I were to post stitch, but I'm not going to post stitch. I'm going to go straight between those two posts from front to back and straight out the back. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and single crochet. So that's a single crochet between the posts. Then for my next single crochet, I'm going to go under both loops of the next single crochet. So you can see that's kind of a type of increase in a way. I'm adding an extra stitch in between these two stitches. Then I'm back at a double crochet that is worked into another double crochet, so I'll know it's time to spike stitch. So I'm going to go straight down into the top of the stitch from round 1, pull up that loop nice and high for a nice spike stitch, yarn over, and finish it off. Then single crochet into the next double crochet, then single crochet between the posts, and we'll go right on down between those two posts, pull up a loop and yarn over, single crochet in the next single crochet, and then we're back at a double crochet worked into double crochet. So I'll do another spike stitch. I'll show you that one more time. We go right into the top of that stitch from round 1, pull up our loop nice and high, yarn over, and finish it. And if you find that it's pulling down too tight on round 2, you can always pull that stitch right out and do it again. There we are. Single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet between the posts, like so, single crochet in the next stitch. And then it's time for another spike stitch, and we'll continue that all the way around. And I'll see you when I get to the end of round 3. All right, so here we are at the end of round 3. You can see I've worked 8 spike stitches as well as 8 sets of single crochet in between, single crochet. So we have 32 stitches total at the end of round 3. Now I'm going to slip stitch, join to the very first spike stitch we made to finish it off, like so, and then we're ready to start round 4. Round 4 is pretty easy. We're going to chain 1, single crochet in the first stitch, which is the same stitch we joined to there. There we go, single crochet. Then we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, so those 3 little single crochets there, and then single crochet in the next stitch, which is that spike stitch again. Very easy to follow. Chain 4, let's see, 4, there we are. Skip 3, single crochet in the next stitch on around. So in the end, we will have 8 chain 4 loops. So I'll go ahead and make mine, and you can go ahead and make yours. All right, so we've come to the end of round 4. You can see I have finished my last chain 4, and I have 7 finished loops here, single crochets and all the spike stitches. But instead of slip stitching at this point, what I'm going to go ahead and do is cut the yarn again. Stick my hook behind my ear. All right. And then I will take my trusty yarn needle, pull that loop on through of the yarn, and then just as before, I'm going to join it. Now, because I'm working from a series of chains, it's easier for this one to just go ahead and join to the single crochet rather than joining to the next stitch, because I also know what happens in the next round, and I know we're going to be working into those chain spaces, not into the individual chains, so I'm not so worried about actual stitch count. If I was really worried and I still wanted to join to that single crochet, then I would just skip one of the chains of the chain 4 here at the end and count this as one of the chain 4s. But again, I know what happens in the next round, and I know it's okay to go ahead and join to that single crochet like so. And then of course I would weave in these ends so that I don't have to do them later, but for now I'll just go ahead and slide it under some stitches to secure it and get it out of the way like so. And now we've got our 8 chain 4 loops. They're working close right now, but we can pull them out and work right into those. So let's pick up the orange again. This pattern can be made with anywhere from 2 to 4 colors easily. I'm just going to use the same 2 over and over here, I think. So to begin, I am going to start round 5 here. I will join with a slip stitch to the top of a chain of a single crochet. So I just pick one of the single crochets. Again, I like to move around the square so I don't line up any of my seams. Right now it's a circle, but it'll be a square eventually. So I'll go ahead and chain 1 to get our slip stitch on there nice and tight. Then I am going to chain 1 again to get our height and single crochet right in the top of that single crochet. Then within the chain space, this chain 4 space, I'm going to work 2 half double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, followed by a chain 1, and then 2 more half double crochets. 1 and 2. As you can see, there's plenty of room in that chain 4. Let me pull up a little bit more yarn here. You can see. So we've got a single crochet in the single crochet, 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets worked into that chain 4 space. We'll do that one more time together here. I'm going to single crochet in that single crochet. Then in the chain 4 space, I'll work 1, 2 half double crochets, chain 1, then 2 more half double crochets. 1, whoops, there we go, and 2. And then just continue that on around. So I'll see you when we get to the end of the round 5. All right, so here we are at the end of round 5. I've got 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets in each chain space, and a single crochet in the top of each single crochet. So what I'm going to do to finish off is slip stitch to the first single crochet here to finish off round 5, and then we'll begin round 6. I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet back in that first stitch again, the one we just joined to. There we are. Then I'm going to skip the first 2 half double crochets. Then we've got that chain 1 space there. It's okay to pull your stitches apart if you need to find it. I am going to work 6 half double crochets in that chain 1 space. So we yarn over, insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. That's 1. And do 5 more all in that chain 1 space. That's 2, 3, 4, there we are, 5, and 6. There, 6 half double crochets all in the chain 1 space. Then I find that next single crochet worked into the single crochet from the previous round, single crochet in there, whoops, there we are, and then go to the next chain 1 space, skip 2 half double crochets, go to the chain 1 space, and works 6 half double crochets in there. And I'll just continue like that on around until I get to the end of round 6. So I'll see you at the end of this round. Alright, so we've come to the end of round 6, and at the end of round 6 you should have 56 stitches. So I am ready to cut my yarn. So just as before, I'll use my scissors. That's usually the best way to cut yarn. Pull up the loop here and work my, I like to call it seamless finishing. I've heard a couple of different terms for it. I don't think there's one official term as such, but for this one I'm going to go ahead and go into that single crochet down into the stitch it came from. And then I'm going to go ahead and just slide it under a couple of other stitches here to finish it off. There we are. And pull that on through. So for round 7, I will bring back the green. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the top of a single crochet from the previous round. So again, turn it a little bit here, find a single crochet. Remember, these are half double crochets here, and they're sort of forming like petals at this point. So find that single crochet, insert the hook, pull up a loop and chain 1. That works as our little slip stitch join there. Then I'm going to chain 1 and make a double crochet spike stitch into the top of the single crochet from round 4 directly below. So let's look at it. We're on round 7. These little shells were round 6. The half double crochets were round 5. So that means this green single crochet here is round 4. The single crochet, chain 4 loop. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook in the top of that stitch, pull up a loop nice and tall. Again, we don't want to shrink the stitches below it all. Yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, and that is a double crochet spike stitch. Then I'm going to half double crochet in the next 3 half double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. There we are. I need to pull up just a little bit more yarn, excuse me. Alright, then in the next stitch, this one right here, I am going to work a double crochet. There we are, followed by a chain 2, then another double crochet, and a half double crochet, and that's all worked into that same stitch, the 4th half double crochet of those 6 there, okay? So those are all worked into that same stitch. Then I will work half double crochets in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. And if this seems a little odd and uneven, that's because in this round we're squaring it up. And you can see we've already got a nice corner going on there. So now it's time for another spike stitch, double crochet spike stitch. So I'll yarn over, go down all the way to round 4, pull up a nice tall loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Then I am going to half double crochet in the next half double crochet stitch there. Let's see, like so. Pull up a little more yarn. Then I'm going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, half double crochet in the next stitch, and then I start over from the beginning again, okay? So that means if you're following along with the written pattern, we go back to where the asterisk is in that pattern, or in round 7, I should say. So that means we start with a double crochet spike stitch in round 4, followed by half double crochets in the next 3. This should all sound a little bit familiar here. It's pretty much exactly how we started the pattern. Let's see, there's our 3 half double crochets. Then in the next stitch, I'll work that double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and half double crochet, all in that same stitch right there. You can see that's our second corner. So continuing our repeat, we half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, work a double crochet spike stitch into round 4. And I know I'm going through these a little bit quickly, so if you need to, go ahead and rewind. All right, there's our next spike stitch. Then half double crochet in the next stitch, and single crochet in the next 4. 1, 2, oops, I was leaning on my yarn there, 3, 4, and finally half double crochet in the next stitch after that. And then we begin our repeat again from where we made the 3, we start with, next would be a spike stitch, 3 half double crochets on around, just as before. And we continue that so we get our next 2 corners. So I'll see you at the end of round 7. And here we are at the end of round 7. You can see I've got 4 corners. There we are. Very nice. And so at the end of round 7, I am going to take out my hook, break the yarn, and take care of that end. Now for this one, again, I know in round 8 that the number of stitches that we're working into is going to count. It's going to be important. So rather than working into that single crochet, because we've got it's a double crochet spike stitch. Instead of working into that one, I'll go into the half double crochet right next to it and make my stitch there and create a new V, a new front and back loop right over that double crochet spike stitch, effectively hiding the top of it there. There we are. I can fiddle with it till I get it just right, but for the sake of time, we'll just continue on through here, and I'll pull that on through and get it out of the way. All right, so now we're ready to begin round 8, which is the final round of this square. So I've got the end of my orange yarn here. What I'm going to do is going to join to the chain 2 of a corner, any corner. And here I'm going to join with a slip stitch. Whoops, didn't have a very good grip on that yarn, did I? Let's try that again. There we are, slip stitch. Now I'm nice and firmly joined to that chain 2 in the corner. Then I am going to work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in that chain 2 corner space again, making the new corner here. You can see this one is real loose. I will weave that in, of course, when it's all done. Then I am going to work in the back loop only across towards the next corner. So working in the back loop only, I'm going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. And the back loop, of course, is always the one furthest away from you, so I'm going to go under just that one. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then I'm going to slip stitch loosely in the next 4 stitches, because these are, unless you're making just one square as a coaster or something like that, odds are you're going to be joining it to another square or something else, so you want to be able to work into all these stitches. So even though we're working slip stitches here, you want to make sure they're not pulled too tight. So I'm going to insert my hook, pull up a loop, and if I pause for a moment, that helps keep it loose before I pull that on through for a slip stitch. So that's 1. Let's do it 3 more times here. Pull up a loop, pull it on, pull it on through. That's 2. Insert, pull up a loop. 3, insert, pull up a loop, and 4. Almost, there we go, 4 slip stitches. Now it's back to single crochets, still working in that back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we are. Now we're back at that chain 2 corner space, and we don't want to try and work into the back loop here. So we're just going to go ahead and work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet right into that chain 2 corner space. And then we begin again with 6 single crochets in the back loop only, 4 slip stitches in the back loop only, 6 single crochets, and then back to the corner, and continue all the way around. By working in the back loop only, we get this nice front line that sort of frames off the square really well. So I will see you at the end of round 8. And here we are at the end of round 8. You can see I have finished my 4th side here, and by working in the back loop only all the way around, we've got that line in the green, round 7. I'm going to go ahead and break my yarn to finish off this square. Now, again, like I said, you're probably going to be joining this to other squares, so you want to maintain your stitch count. So if you use this method to finish off rather than a slip stitch and break and weave, you could go into this one, but that's, if you don't pull this real tight, you'll be creating another V, which will look like another stitch when you're working around. So you actually, for this one, want to go ahead and go into that first chain of the chain 2, which is a little fiddly, but when it comes time to join them, it'll make it that much easier. The other alternative would be to make the V, make the fake V here with your end in that first single crochet of the corner and just pull it really tight so you can't work into it and try and remember. This is a little bit easier, even though you're going to the chain. Of course, it's easier with a needle than it is with a hook, so it's still not too bad. And there we go. That is the Mini Magic Mandala Square, and it is a free pattern on mooglyblog.com. If you would like a pattern for a full blanket using this square, complete with joining instructions and border, then you'll want to look up the Magic Rainbow Baby Blanket on mooglyblog.com. And even though it's a baby blanket, of course, it can be made full-sized as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do subscribe to our channel, and thank you so much for watching.